Hello, Luke here. I would just like to take a moment to disclose upfront that we sometimes talk about sensitive topics in our podcasts, and in fairness to our audience, we will try our best to put specific warnings in the descriptions of each episode. Now on with the show.
Marines are in mourning, nerve gas this city. Carla's already on her way. What a pity. Team up with Mason, cause there's skills I lack. Put our heads together and we'll stop this attack. I'm talking before the missile blows. Chemical fallout, woes. Bombing us with their drones. Gonna stop the general now. Not really sure quite how. Either way, we'll save the city. Fist fight, flares light. Gonna crash every car in sight. Movie's tight, Michael Bay high as a kite. Welcome to the Rock. Hope the island doesn't stop. No, blow.
Yes.
That was TikTok by Kesha.
A disgruntled Marine general takes hostages on Alcatraz, and it's up to National Treasure Man and Silver Fox James Bond to save the day in The Rock. Welcome to the Nostalgia Killers podcast, where we revisit films from our youth to see if they still hold up or should be inserted into the great DVD player in the sky. It's been a long time since I've done this intro. I am Luc Londe. With me, almost as always, is Chuck Starzenski.
That's right, the chemical super freak himself.
And with us almost always again is Javier Martinez.
I'm going to do this entire episode in Sean Connery's voice.
And that's the end of our episode.
Yeah, no, please don't turn it off. I'm just kidding.
I also knew you were going to do that, so I was like, I'm going to let Javi have that one.
It's okay, I'll just use my normal stupid voice. I'm glad to be here.
I think Sean Connery impressions are warranted in this.
Yeah.
And be sure to stick around for our Sonic Death Monkey Top 5, where we talk about our top 5 movie antagonists we might side with.
They did nothing wrong. Hashtag justice for her.
They were right. And this brings us to our honorary Sam Coughlin spoiler alert. This movie came out in 1996. If you haven't seen it yet, it's too late. So you missed it.
Spoiler alert. Yeah.
So this came out in 96. Well, I was still in Germany, but somehow I saw it. Yeah, it was one of those.
Did you see it in German?
No, it was like, I think by the time it came out on VHS, it stuck with me. When I watched it the first time, I'd never been to San Francisco, no idea what it looked like, no attachment to it whatsoever. But I'd say that this movie has its place in history, like movie history. Like people cite this movie all the time. It's like an innovator and like one of the first movies to do what it does.
This is one of those classic, my dad, Mr. Martinez, is, I saw this way too young. I mean, it's not like the worst thing in the world, but
no,
it was, yeah, definitely bad for like an 7-8-year-old for sure.
Probably.
7 and 8 is probably too young to watch Nicolas Cage fuck somebody on a roof with cowboy boots on.
Yeah. And of course, that was the worst part, of course. Not the people melting, but of course, that was, I have the memory of like, oh, maybe I shouldn't be watching this. But, opening scene was fine. But yeah, and then, I just spoke to my dad yesterday. I should have asked him, but this might be one of his favorite movies. Because we saw it a lot. Mm-hmm. Like, that was his go-to. That was his, like, Saturday and like, oh, I guess we're going to watch a movie. Like, hey, son, you want to go grab The Rock? And I'm like, oh, sure, Dad. Let's go watch The Rock.
Weirdly, it's Michael Bay's favorite movie he's made. It's Sean Connery. It was Sean Connery's favorite movie he made in the 90s. It's like everyone really, really likes the movie.
Yeah, probably been a minute since I watched it.
Yeah. I probably watch this every 10 years. It's either on or I turn it on. I'm like, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, this was in heavy rotation on TV when I was a kid. So this is like a quintessential kind of like Tremors, Mission Impossible episodes we've done in the past where it's like probably hadn't seen the entire movie because it was just always catching it like, where they're already on Alcatraz or this is happening. I had never seen it uncensored until about a year ago when I watched it with my wife. My wife, Lauren, fucking loves this movie with a passion, as she should. But yeah, I love it too. It's so goddamn ridiculous. I don't think the camp was intentional, but I'm all here for it. And this is probably my favorite Michael Bay movie. I would say like right up there with Bad Boys, like they're those two fighting for the top spot. But I think this is better.
Yeah, getting ahead of myself, but I also agree. Yeah.
Favorite scenes? For me, it's when it turns into Indiana Jones and Temple of Doom with all the underground rail shit.
like, why the fuck are there mine carts in Alcatraz?
Yeah, it doesn't belong there. It's
No.
a completely wrong movie, but it's still one of my favorite parts of the movie. It's like,
Where did these lead? I have no idea.
It's like, what? Like, you're the expert. You're the guy who
Yeah.
escaped.
They
You
spent-
didn't walk past any of this, like, while you
Yeah.
were like, camped out
spent
underground.
so much effort to build this set and make it work, and then to like not show. They show the rope. They go to the rope. It looks like the rope's going to get tight. But when they show the cart, there's no rope tied to it. It's like, what is it? How does that matter? What is it? The rope's like 3 inches thick. You can't miss it. It's still my favorite. Like, I don't know if it's a goof or just some silly shit they left in the movie, but
I just love too that they never explain what it is. Like, I, as an audience member, I'm like justifying it. I'm like, maybe it's like old timey laundry service. I'm like, I don't know, why is there a fucking mine? Were they harvesting ore? Under
yeah, I thought it might be a gold mine. Maybe that's what they were thinking. I don't
Yeah.
know. That's just so stupid.
Mine in the middle of the bay. Yeah.
Yeah, for anybody who's curious, no, there's no possible way any of that underground shit could exist in the geology in the Bay Area.
Have you been there, Luke?
No.
Yeah, I'll get the easy one out of the way. Mine's the shower room shootout.
Okay.
Yeah, I just think the tension in that is well done, and it's just I think that's it's the scene that I always remember. Even as a kid, I was like, oh my god, this is crazy. Like what? Yeah, it's one of those that like I think you're watching it and you like still are hoping for it to like end a different way, and you're like, oh no, that's right, I've seen this. Like they're all dead, and it's just Nick Cage and Sean Connery left.
It's been so long that I remembered it differently. I remembered the SEALs like betraying and like joining the Marines. But that was some other movie that I'm thinking about. I thought they like just made like a huge show of like going to like save the day, but then they're like on their side. But no, and then I watched the shootout. I was like, oh, this is like watching it for the first time because I remembered it completely differently.
I also love just like how it goes on like ridiculously long.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, it's cool when it's dramatic, but you know, and I'm not a warfare expert, you know, by any means. I've never served, but I'm pretty sure that would have taken a whole like 5 seconds, right? They have the high ground and they're like,
it's
you know, 20 feet away
stuff.
from each other, right? That's like pop, 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 they're dead, done.
It's also like the only part in the movie where the like emotional gravitas actually has any kind of payoff. It's like the only part where you're invested, where you're like, oh, whoa, this is actually like, I understand what's going on, and like complex nuances of like, you know, not wanting to be a traitor, but also not wanting to be betrayed by your country and like all that. And it's just like, whoa, this is a different movie.
Yeah, you get that great back and forth between Hummel and the SEAL leader. Yeah, it's awesome.
But yeah, for me, it's I gotta go for pure mayhem. My favorite thing about this movie is the SF car chase, where they destroy literally everything.
Yeah.
Fucking every cliche in a car chase you could ever have, ever. You know, driving through glass, we're destroying farm stands, literally taking out parking meters. I fucking lose it every time they include that scene with the little old lady crossing the street. It's so fucking stupid. I'm all for representation and all that, but why is there just a roving gang of gentlemen in wheelchairs that almost get hit? Like, it's like, what? One of my favorite characters in the entire film. Happy to be here, gung-ho gentleman on the cable car.
Yeah.
Yes.
Who's like, you guys, this is the best day of our lives. We're riding a cable car. The fucking cable car flies 2 stories in the air and explodes.
I had this coming up later, but the guy calling his car phone to say, hey, you stole my car.
Yeah.
And then it stays on Sean Connery way too long with the shaky zoom cam. And he's just having a phone conversation sitting still, but the camera's going ape shit for just way too long. And then I laughed my ass off.
This is like Michael Bay's like, chef's kiss 2 to 4. This is like this is it distilled into one film. Like everything he's ever wanted to do.
I need to like clip that and just loop it so you can just watch the loop of that. Just how fucking ridiculous it is. I have a story to go along with it.
Yeah.
So when I came to the area in the Coast Guard when I was going to school, some friends and I went to a club and we ended up doing one of those jumps that they do.
Oh shit.
My friend didn't warn us. We said he just like it was on Russian Hill and was like, look where we are, and he just like gunned it and like jumped. We got like 6 feet of air.
Oh shit. Yeah.
And we're in some old hatchback. I forget exactly what it was. It was me, the guy driving, and I was in the passenger seat, and we had one other guy where there's no seats in the back. So he's like laying down in the hatch part, and he's like bouncing up and down, and the car bottomed out. It hit like all the struts and everything.
Ooh, yeah.
Ooh.
We still had to drive back to Petaluma. Barely made it. I've done that jump.
Oh my god.
Not gonna lie, I'm tempted every time I'm in San Francisco. I'm like, I think about that. I'm
so
like,
easy, so easy.
Stanley dismantling the baby bomb. That is This movie's fucking unhinged.
Yeah.
That whole scene is like he goes from building a Rune Goldberg machine in his office to all of a sudden being like ogling porno mags to having a chemical almost melt off his skin.
Yeah.
The whole like, you gotta stab yourself in the fucking heart with this needle. And he's like, no, I have to dismantle this bomb.
Get that away from me.
Yeah, exactly.
I have also had this written down later. I like to think of myself as someone who's grown out of ridiculous things like this film, but I laughed my ass off the entire time watching it again.
Yeah.
I'm not above it. I can't break free.
This movie has me in stitches every time.
Yeah. There's not a single moment in the movie where I'm just like watching and like kind of just chilling. It's either I'm laughing or I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah. This movie was, intended for 9-year-old boys, and I am no longer a 9-year-old boy, so I just I can't take it seriously. I can't watch it with true as it's intended. I'm like, this is fucking
it's grown into a new kind of monster, and I'm glad it's here.
I'm not gonna lie, by the way, I fucking love the score. I'm just gonna say that. I was watching it and then I was like, oh man, is this one of those things where it's gonna get like really annoying like at some point? And maybe it does for most people, but I got a kick every time we get a new little and
I didn't even notice it. I thought it worked.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
it worked fine.
The score is fucking unhinged too. I would be doing my wife disservice if I didn't bring it up on the podcast. She has always said that it's like the Pirates of the Caribbean first draft.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I noticed that during the underground scene, especially with the carts. Yeah.
Also, really quick before we get to nitpicks, I fucking love how unhinged the ending is. The finding of the microfilm in the church.
Yeah.
And the last line of the movie is, "Hey, honey, you want to know who really shot JFK?" As they speed off. Also, like, what the fuck is that setting up? Like, is Nick Cage now going to be like an enemy of the state because he has that microfilm?
I have that coming up later. All right, on nitpicks, fixes.
I'll be honest, I didn't have a ton. I kind of had to reach a little bit.
It's and something so ridiculous you can't fault it for trying to be serious.
Yeah.
Like there's not even a lot of cursing in it.
Sure. I guess the only thing that like really stood out to me was exposition scene regarding Mason's history. Just the way that between director Womack and whoever the other guy is, just the way they say it. Like I never really noticed it. Obviously not as a kid, but now I'm like, oh yeah, they're literally just like, oh, remember we locked him up and we threw away the key and we forgot about him, and he's like, that's right, he's been in there for 27 years. And like I was like, oh, like that's not how people talk, man. But okay, cool. And it goes on for like a while because they give his whole like backstory, and it like goes on for like 5 minutes. I'm like, oh, we're still exposition dump. And then the only other thing I really had, I was like, oh, even back then, $1 million, it was what mercenaries were getting paid. I don't know if that's like enough to like leave your home country forever.
We're getting into Dr. Evil rules here. The perception of what a lot of money is.
Yeah, you'll get $1 million and you'll have to leave the U.S. forever. I was like, 1 million. I'm like, even if you go to, I don't know, it'll last you for a while, I guess. But
yeah, I mean,
it just seemed I was like, oh.
I think the notion back then was always you could go to Mexico and live like a king for forever on that much money at least. I don't have any. I find it was strange that a lot of the actors that actually have speaking lines aren't in the credits. It's weird.
Really?
It's weird if you go and look at it. Like I studied it because I had to do the trivia for this, and
Right.
it's like, why aren't these people listed? They give like really important speeches and they have close-ups, and it's like they're just not mentioned. Marines you don't get to meet or talk to at all. They're mentioned. Like the guys who just die in the baths or whatever. It's like,
Oh, really? Yeah.
weird. Really weird.
Yeah, I only have a couple. The scene where Jade is at the Palace of Fine Arts to meet Mason, that's just fucking unnecessary. That's just like the most like save the cat kind of like giving him a purpose / like being like, see, he's a good guy and he cares about his daughter, even though this is the first time they've ever met.
And it's the only time they ever meet.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
she doesn't come back. It's the only time she's in the movie.
So it's like that, and then the only other one is Michael Bay and his fucking caricatures of human beings. The gay hairdresser character is pretty rough.
It was rough. I don't know. I mean, it's obviously played as a joke for the time, but he kind of like actually has a character, which is kind of nice.
Oh, and for a Michael Bay movie, this is fucking this is no Transformers 2.
Yeah, he's not just a stereotype. He's actually like, how's your haircut? Like at the end, like a little redemptive, but not stands out a lot.
I remember seeing Transformers 2 in theaters and fucking uncomfortable. Just being like, whoa, these are some like Jim Crow characters. Holy shit, this is way worse than Jar Jar.
My only other one is that Vanessa Marshall is not nude during the sex scene.
Got to get it on TV, man. Onto the rainy day double feature. My gut instinct is to watch Armageddon because it came out right after this. So None of the same people, but the same director and same vibe and a lot of the same fucking shots. Which is strange. But then there's this kind of obscure movie called Renaissance Man with Danny DeVito.
Yeah, I'm familiar. But like, I haven't seen it.
Name, yeah.
One of the Marines in this movie he's a soldier in that movie, and Danny DeVito is like a civilian who's tasked to go like train and teach recruits in boot camp having trouble doing their studies or whatever. It's a really fucking good movie. And I like completely forgot about it until we watched this again because that one actor's in it. I don't remember his name. I can't like say his name. Not that I'm like forbidden from it. It's just like really hard to say.
Like he's
Sport No, he's
one of the bad Marines or the
one of the bad Marines. Anyways, yeah, those are my two, I guess.
I had a previously reviewed film on this podcast. I had Air Force One.
It's very much the same vibe.
It's like all those people in the war room stepped off of Air Force One or just this movie went to Air Force One.
Yeah. I just maybe it's the same universe, you know. If it wasn't intended, now it is.
Right.
You heard it here first.
I have two. I have a movie and then I have a video game. I'm going Face Off. I'm doubling down on late 90s Cage action insanity.
Yeah.
Just give me more explosions and like Cage wig outs.
I think they both have the same church. The church at the end.
The church in Tennessee, Tennessee or whatever.
At the end of Face Off is the same church that's in the end of this one.
Oh.
And they're just in like...
I believe it.
They're just in LA.
Yeah,
they're just in the outskirts of LA.
But my video game is like watching this movie again, I wanted to replay Metal Gear Solid so bad.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's like very much same vibe. It's like sneaking in through the water to stop like a madman with a nuclear device. And like,
Yeah, in my research, that game was brought up as like, it was either inspired by this movie or...
Oh, it had to have been. I mean, Kojima's like a diehard, like shitty action fan.
Right.
So it's like, I mean, like he literally takes the name Snake Plissken from, like, it's just fucking takes it from, Escape from New
York and LA. Yeah.
Which, speaking of Face Off, why did we have Michael Bay trying to rip off John Woo's Dove thing, man?
Oh,
it happened like two separate instances in this movie, and I checked, and I'm like, well, maybe, San Francisco, maybe they're pigeons. I'm like, no, those are definitely doves for some reason.
that was a '90s movie thing. If you watch any '90s movie, there's fucking
because it looks fucking cool, Javier.
Because they didn't have special effects. All they could do is scare a shitload of birds. Onto this movie's cocktail.
Yeah, we've got the Hummel Highball. So we've got 1.5 ounces of gin, 1/4 ounce of a Bitter Apertivo that does not sponsor the podcast, so I can't say the name of it. 1 ounce of lime juice, and a splash of a neon green citrus soda that happens to have a sponsorship with Taco Bell. Probably figure that one out pretty quick. Mix the ingredients over ice, top with soda, and sip as you buy more time for the boys in Mojave to crack the code on thermite plasma.
It's awesome, man. I feel my face melting off already.
Exactly. Oh yeah, it's that yellow 5, baby.
It's been a while. Do we take our first ad break?
Yeah, it's time for an ad break. And we're back with everyone's favorite segment, Nostalgia Killers Trivia. It's time to see if we know 30 years worth of trivia or 30 tiers worth of losing trivia. I've lost the plot. On to you, Luke.
Thank you, Chuck. Question number 1, true or false? Due to Alcatraz being a national park, it was open to tourists during the entire filming of the movie.
I'm going true.
God, that'd be a fucking nightmare. I'm gonna go false.
It's true.
Wow.
Sorry, Chuck's got one.
Jeez.
Question number 2. The writing credits are contentious, and there are several contributors who were not given credit despite protests from Michael Bay. Which of the following is an uncredited contributor? Aaron Sorkin, Charlie Kaufman, Quentin Tarantino, and Michael Mann?
Michael Mann.
Michael Mann.
Ooh, you both got it wrong. And there were 2 right answers in here. Sorry, guys.
What?
Aaron Sorkin was an original.
Okay, that
one of the scriptwriters. Also, Quentin Tarantino.
No fucking
I can
way.
see
uncredited,
Aaron Sorkin, I'm like, how? Because this dialogue, like...
Yeah, it didn't end with any of Aaron Sorkin's stuff.
Okay, I was going to say, I don't want to take anybody's like band names early or anything like that, but like... there's a bit where there's just so much ad-libbing, I feel like, in this movie. It has to be ad-lib because otherwise it's like, I can't believe a human being sat down and wrote these.
Yeah.
Like there's the bit where Sean Connery's fighting a Marine like at the end. And the guy's like, I hate you British bastards. Like, my uncle was Irish.
Yeah.
You might be surprised there's something like 9 writers on this.
Wow.
There's the originals, and there's like Aaron Sorkin and another guy who came in, and then they got bumped. And I didn't read where where Tarantino was involved, but it eventually, and then after Connery got signed on, 2 more writers who are specialized in British writing rewrote all of his lines and ended up writing a lot of the other dialogue. This thing got rewritten like 6 times.
Jesus.
Since Bay picked it up.
Wow.
It's a sordid history. But yeah,
Wow, holy shit.
Tarantino and Sorkin. Question number 3, true or false? A sequel to The Rock was heavily considered, which would rejoin Goodspeed and Mason in a caper surrounding the microfilm that's found at the end of the movie.
True.
And I'll say true only because you might have alluded to it earlier.
Yeah, it's true.
I wonder if they just took the script and turned it into National Treasure, basically.
It's not far off. Question number 4, true or false? When Philip Baker Hall learned that most of his scenes were being cut even before filming, he demanded to go uncredited in The Rock because he's not credited.
True.
I'm going to say false.
False. Hobby wins.
Because why would you do that? I mean,
I made it up. That's just one of those things. No real story there. I just made that up to have one in there. Question number 5, true or false? The room service food wasn't timed well, and by the time the actors had to perform eating it, it had gone so bad that it made them all sick.
false.
Just to be contentious, I'm going to say true.
It is false. Sweet. Javi spotted another made up one. Question number 6, true or false? Some of the Navy SEALs were actual Navy SEALs.
Like true, because I'm sure they had like some people on there consulting, and then it was like, hey, you want to be in this scene?
I'll be the Chuck this turn. False.
It's true. Sorry, Javi. There were a few actual Navy SEAls, and Michael Bean, the lead SEAL, actually had a lot of anxiety over like trying to lead them because he was an actor and not an actual SEAL, so he was like kind of intimidated. Question number 7: Ed Harris and Michael Bean also star in adversarial roles in what 1989 underwater movie?
What's it called? It's not The Sphere, is it? I'm gonna say The Sphere. I think that's what it's called.
I'm going to say Crimson Tide.
Sorry, guys, both wrong. It was The Abyss.
The Abyss. Okay.
The Abyss, and the other one you're thinking of was Leviathan. Leviathan was the other underwater alien movie that came out the exact same year. That was made at the exact same time.
Okay.
Question number 8. The Rock overtook Mission Impossible in the box office, but it was itself overtaken by another film from the Nostalgia Killers episodes. Was it A, Happy Gilmore, B, Cable Guy, C, Air Force One, or D, Death to Smoochie?
C, Air Force One.
Yeah, Air Force One.
Wrong. The fucking Cable Guy.
Really?
Get the fuck out of
I
here.
kept trying to tell everyone the Cable Guy was fucking awesome, and it didn't suck. It didn't bomb. It won. It knocked this movie off the fucking
No
block
way.
when it came out the week later. Yes.
It's just a Jim Carrey name,
power
huh?
of Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
Jim Carrey.
Wow.
Yeah. Fucking Cable Guy. I'm telling you. Number 9. Which of the following actors was not in a previous Nostalgia Killers episode? A, William Forsythe. B, Philip Baker Hall. Or C, David Morse. D, John C. McGinley.
I'm going to go D, John C. McGinley.
There's no way David Morse showed up. I would remember. I'm gonna say David Morse.
Sorry, it was John C. McGinley. D. Chuck got it right.
What was David Morse in?
David Morse was in The Good Son. He was the father.
Oh, my stupid. God fucking damn it. Yeah.
Philip Baker Hall was in Rush
Stupid.
Hour, and William Forsythe was in Blue Street. Question number 10, final question. Director of photography, John Schwartzman, is related to whom in the cast? A, Ed Harris. B, Claire Filani. C, Nicolas Cage. Or D, Gregory Sporletter, which is that one actor I couldn't remember.
Nicolas Cage.
I'm going to go B.
Claire?
Claire, yeah.
Wrong, it's Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, he's related to
Take
other
a card.
Schwartzman, right?
Schwartzman, yeah.
He's actually the half-brother of Jason Schwartzman, who's the daughter of Talia Shire, who is the Coppola, so they're cousins. Javi wins.
Javi wins.
Congratulations, man. Yeah. Wow, that game actually played out. All right. I'd like to take this moment to thank our executive producers, Addie Martinez. Thank you, Addie.
Yeah, thank you, Addie. You would get a full pardon any day, just so you know. Would never rip that up.
And if you too would like to sponsor the podcast and be mentioned on the podcast as an executive producer, you can visit our Patreon. Oh shit, what is the name of our Patreon? Is it the Nostalgia Killers? I think it's Nostalgia Killers Podcast.
Yeah.
Patreon.com/Nostalgia Killers Podcast. I'm very sorry for saying the wrong fucking link the entire fucking time.
I was waiting for this to be another trivia question. I was like, oh, I know this one. Wait a minute. No, Javi lost. I won. I know this one.
$15 a month, you get your name shouted out on every episode. And with that, we'll take our second ad break.
And break number 2.
And we're back with Act 3, the award categories, where we start off with my new band name, which despite all the quips and great lines in this movie, I only came up with Beige Volvo Motor Club.
Nice.
And it's just a bunch of divorced dads in leather.
Yeah.
Trying to play old like ZZ Top music.
One of the ones I had Fuck the Prom Queen. It's a punk band.
Nice.
Originally, I had it as Godspell, which is what what they accidentally say Nick Cage's name as Goodspeed, right? Godspell.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just changed it since it's Sean Connery who says it. I changed it to Godspell.
Godspell.
Yeah, with
put
like
a CH in there?
SCH. Yeah, and it's like a German grunge band.
Nice.
Godspell.
It's a grunge thing. Yeah, I've got the word from Mojave, which is like I love how many times they say that. What's the word from Mojave? They're an instrumental prog rock band. And then the greatest line in the entire movie. Carla was the prom queen. Midwest emo band. And then one of my favorite things in this film, I didn't want to include it in my favorite scenes because I was like, I wanted to talk about it here and now. Chekhov's heart injection, and they're a screamo band.
Chekhov's gun principle fully used.
Exactly.
Yeah. Nice
But
call.
also I love just the he's like, no, I can do this without injecting myself directly in the heart every time. And then he has to give in at the end.
Yeah.
And I also had Chemical Super Freak, which is like one of those like indie bands at like the festival that's always at the very bottom
Yeah.
of the list, and they never go above that. Like you see it every year, and it's always at the way bottom.
And after the festival, they have to go to the bar that they're playing at the same night.
Exactly.
Poor
Yeah.
guys.
They play when gates open. They play at noon, and like no one can see them because it's like, well, you gotta park, you gotta like get checked in. Yeah, like you're not, even if you're fucking right there in line, you don't get into the festival till 12:30.
They have to fight with security to make, we're on the list, dude.
Exactly.
We're one of the bands.
Pull out the fucking magnifying glass to read the fine print at the bottom of it. It's like, oh yeah, I guess you guys are.
The Roger Deakins Will Be Proud Award. I've already given mine. It's the phone call in the Humvee, the loop zooms, just the fucking ridiculous. I'm definitely going to make a loop of that somewhere, or if it doesn't exist already, I'll find it.
Mine was also equally ridiculous, and I fucking love it. It's the POV of the knife flying through the air as it gets to the guy's throat.
I did not remember that at all. I think it was cut out of.
Could never hesitate.
Yeah.
So good.
No spin, nothing. Just
Speaking of spins, I had the quintessential Michael Bay spin around Stanley when he like does the classic stand, the Bad Boys spin.
You would think this is an advertisement for the new Russian Hill grocery store or whatever the sign was behind him. Like, what was the point of putting that sign behind his head?
And then I also had the contre-plonge shot of Stanley and Mason underwater with billows of flames above them.
Oh yeah,
This is like,
they did not want to do that. And if you look at Sean Connery's face, he looks pissed because he was pissed. He did not want to do that shot. He don't want to be like that close to the actual flames. And the Bay had to fight him to get him to do it. The other weird thing is like the role Sean Connery played in making this movie was that he went to bat for Michael Bay every time Disney came in and be like, "Hey, are you doing your job right? Are you spending the money right?" And Sean Connery every time came in and be like, "Yes, she's doing great." Yeah, and then Bay does that to him. He does that one final shot, that special effects shot with real fire over his head. If you watch the movie, he's fucking pissed.
I'll have to rewatch that. That's funny.
Yep.
I also had that shot where in the opening scene of the film, the Marine, comes into frame, like he comes up and he's standing in front of the pillar, and then it zooms out, and he's got the dual wielding pistols, and
very classic, like Matrix / like 90s video game, just like
Which looked cool from the front, but if you're looking at the guys,
you can totally see his arms.
You can see his elbows.
yeah.
There's a guy standing there ready to shoot us. Why don't we just walk into it? Is that Channing Tatum in a dog collar award? I got Todd Luiso. He's his Nicolas Cage's chemical partner at the beginning of the movie.
Okay.
Oh yeah, the guy who looks like Peter Skarsgård, kind of.
That's funny because that's what I thought at first. I was like, and then I didn't. I was like, I don't know who.
High Fidelity. He's the meek little guy.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Nice.
If you watch the credits, it says featuring, and it lists 4 or 5 people.
Yeah.
On top of it, and Todd Luiso's in there. Like,
okay.
I don't know why they separated it out. The credits baffle me in this movie. I don't fucking. Some people who should be in the credits are not in it. The people who are featured aren't big people.
Okay.
And it's not like Todd Luiso like put money up for the movie or anything. He's just in it.
Wonder if he was friends with Michael Bay.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know what the story is behind that.
So I had 2. I had Lunel, one of the tourists who's in prison.
Okay.
Yeah,
And she's like,
saw
even
it.
I got a gun. And I was like, holy shit, is that Lunel? I'm like, That's hilarious. Was the
Oh,
stand-up comedian. She's in Borat. She plays
yes. I thought she looked familiar.
Yeah, which is funny because I swear that Borat was like the first thing that I saw her in, and I'd seen her since, but I don't think I'd seen her before that. So I was like, oh shit, she's in this? I'm like, no way. That's funny. And then I had one from a previously reviewed episode, which I had to double check. So I'm like, wait, that's the guy, right? That's the guy from Air Force One, Xander Berkeley. Yeah.
Yep. There's a bunch of people from Air Force One in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Cool. Wait, Philip Baker Hall too, right?
A couple of the generals in the back.
Oh.
And in separate spots.
Right, you're right. They're probably just like hop set.
Just jump set.
Yeah.
Like,
Wrap this up. I got to be in DC. Yeah.
I got to be on another set soon.
Yeah, I give it to Claire Forlani as Mason's daughter, Jade.
Sure.
I know her from Mallrats, and I've had a crush on her since I saw her for the first time in Mallrats. Yeah, just like...
She's also in Mystery Men. I don't know if you remember her in that.
No.
She's the waitress.
Oh, is she?
Who works with Mr. Furious to like help him like find himself. And she's, oh my God. Talk about heartthrob. Yeah, I had a crush on her too, big time.
You swoon every time.
And I think she's British too. So she pulls off this American accent really fucking well.
And she's only in like weird 90s like comedies and The Rock, basically. She didn't have like a huge credit list at all.
Yeah, she's in a couple like rom-coms, like real rom-coms. The Hans Gruber Deathfall Award.
So
fucking all of them.
I was going to say, so this is where the podcast goes on for an hour now, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, I loved watching this movie and being like, holy shit, like these are all fucking like ridiculous kills. My favorite, I guess, because I was like, okay, which one did I pick that might not get mentioned? That when that Marine has, he's like standing, behind Goodspeed, and Goodspeed's on his knees on the ground, and he's like, shut the fuck, and then like Sean Connery comes up behind him, snaps his neck like out of nowhere.
I'll take pleasure in gutting you, boy.
He just goes on with that line for a little longer.
It was so hard not to make that one of my band names. I was just like,
I got Captain Fry, who's the guy I was thinking of, who's also in Renaissance Man with the mouthful of VFX or VX gas. Yeah,
fucking Candyman gets rocket launched in the chest, out the window, and then dropped and impaled on a fucking spike. I was like, holy shit. Yeah, so the death of Captain Darrow. Yeah.
Three unnecessary deaths, like all in one guy.
Yeah. Well, that was like, it's like Bay's like, dude, we got 15 minutes left in this movie. We gotta really pull out the stops here.
Yeah.
But no one mentioned it, so I'll just also give a shout out to the guy who gets the fucking air conditioning unit dropped on his head.
That's a pretty good one.
Like Nick Cage is like, that's the most disgusting thing I've ever
seen. Still twitching. Yeah.
It's
the foot thing.
Is the foot thing normal? I forgot about that entirely. I was distracted at that moment. Sean Connery having enough ammo to shoot down an air conditioning unit off a gun he picked up off another SEAL. I was like, he doesn't have enough for that. And then he's still holding on to it like there's ammo in it.
Also, Alcatraz is a magical place. They have mine carts and air conditioning in the same
and tile showers. And,
That's great. That Tony Todd death scene also has like my favorite line of dialogue. Stanley asks him, like, oh, like, you know how this shit works? And then he flexes a knife. You know how this shit works? Yeah.
The whole very unnecessary like Rocket Man joke one-liner setup.
Stupid. I love it.
There was a payoff from that. Being in the movie during the sex scene, the song is Rocket Man.
Oh, I didn't even catch that.
I didn't catch it either. As it came up in the trivia research. Why I like Waterworld. Controversial hot take.
I wrote it, and it might not be a hot take, but which I think we mentioned earlier, but I think this is Michael Bay's best film.
Yeah. I don't think it's a hot take. I think it's, that's like completely agreeable.
I think I could think of, but I was like, by like a lot.
He obviously has a style and a vision of, like a 12-year-old boy, like we mentioned. And like everything that came after it, I wanted to celebrate. I wanted to like, but he never evolved, never changed. He kind of just went more explosions, more impossible camera shots, which just turned out to be CGI. But this is my favorite Michael Bay movie for sure. Yeah.
Okay, maybe this is the hot take then. Armageddon is my second favorite Michael Bay movie.
Okay, that's a hot take.
I completely agree with you there too. I was going to bring that up later, but Armageddon was the first movie I watched when I came back to America. Yeah. So I thought it was hot shit. I was like, oh, this is awesome. It's the best thing in the fucking world. Opinion has changed, but I still like it.
He made Bad Boys. He made, I don't know if anyone saw Ambulance. I don't know if I think it's just ambulance, but they highlight the LA in ambulance in the title.
I didn't even notice. That's hilarious.
The movie's fucking amazing. It's the stupidest shit ever.
Yeah. Are you guys going to watch the new Bad Boys?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I don't know if I'm going to see it in theaters, but
I heard it was decent. I was like, I'll check it out.
Yeah, I'm going to check it out. I've liked them all. Yeah, you're right. Bad Boys is great. Who was like the driving force behind those movies? I think Michael Bay is more in this movie and Armageddon and all his others, but Martin Lawrence and Will Smith
Yeah,
probably had a
must have
lot to
calling
do
a
with
lot
Bad
of
Boys
the-
movies,
yeah.
where Michael Bay was almost like a second unit director. Like, you handle the explosions and shit. Mine is, I don't know if it's a hot take. What do you got, Chuck? Let's go with yours.
This movie would not be what it is without Nick Cage. His over-the-top kabuki acting style makes the movie. He's the only and I do appreciate that a lot of people try to play it straight because that just adds to the camp.
Yeah.
But he's the only person meeting the movie on its terms. Like, he read the script and was like, this is batshit. Okay, I found my direction. Be batshit.
Yeah, I think you're right. I'm trying to imagine.
Because, like, putting, like, Bruce Willis or someone in there, it's just going to be like, and, like, he could pull it off, but, like, I don't know. I think you need that, like, kind of insanity.
The one casting alternate I didn't really get to was that instead of Sean Connery, it was going to be Schwarzenegger.
Oh.
If you can imagine
Jesus. No.
They kind of ended up making this movie with Schwarzenegger. It's called Eraser. Came out just a year later, I think.
Shit.
It's basically the same movie. Like, just action, all that shit. My hot takes, when we first get to Alcatraz in the movie, I immediately wanted to watch Vicky from So I Married an Axe Murderer. Phil Hartman's tour guide of Alcatraz. They both got made in the same year, by the way.
No way.
Yeah, so it's like the exact same time. They may have been getting on and off the boat. But in addition to that, I've lived here, 26, 27 years. You guys have lived here your entire lives.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to Alcatraz?
I have for a elementary school trip.
So
you
you were forced.
Yeah, it was like 4th grade or something.
Yeah, and I have been, but it wasn't until relatively recently. It was like 5 years ago, and it was for work. We took the kids on a field trip to Alcatraz. And I was like, oh, I've never been. I was like, sweet.
That I can understand. Yeah. I've never been. I couldn't really give a shit about the tourists that go to Alcatraz.
Yeah.
I wasn't really sympathizing or empathizing with, like, oh no, they're being held captive.
It's a very specific type, yeah.
Good. That's my hot take. It's like, let them be captive. On to Blue Velvet Means Blue's Clues. You guys got any cool mashups?
I said mix this with Small Soldiers.
Okay.
So swap out the Marines for the Commando Elite. And then also, they don't need the guidance chips that are getting stolen out of the missiles and being snapped because they've already got chips in them.
They're just plugging themselves
Chip
into
Hazard's
it.
just like picking random soldiers and being like, you've served your country well, and just like killing them off and popping those chips into the missiles.
Yeah, so I want this film beat for beat the exact fucking same up until they get inside Alcatraz. Then they get inside Alcatraz and everybody's fucking dead. I got The Rock meets Predator.
Oh.
And now they got to get off The Rock and they got the Predator chasing them. Still directed by Michael Bay.
I fancied it being mixed with Gone in 60 Seconds because that's what immediately when I think of when I see Nicolas Cage driving a car. Is basically the same movie. Yeah, if they don't get all the cars and all the rockets go off and San Francisco dies. Here comes Kanye. We got any plugs? Anything?
Yeah, this beautiful show. We have a stunning back catalog you can take a look at. Also, please, subscribe to our Patreon.
On to Do We Call Jules and Vincent? I think we're all going to let this live.
Oh, let this live with bells on. It's so fucking good.
Yeah, this is
100%.
Iconic now. Like, despite its silliness, I would almost call it an amateur Michael Bay movie too, because he's kind of figuring the stuff out.
But that's what makes it so fun.
Yes, exactly. It's like historically important.
Yeah, I think after rewatching it this time, I'm kind of like, I kind of want to watch this more often.
Let's go on to our Sonic Death Monkey Top 5, where we talk about our top 5 movie antagonists we might side with. I kind of will just have to put this in every episode I can talk about, but the Lord Humongous from Road Warrior. He just wanted what was right for his people. He wanted the gasoline.
He gave him an option. They could have walked away.
Gave him enough. They could have walked away. Just walk away.
So for my number 5, I had Baron Zemo from Captain America Civil War. Believes the idea that super soldiers should not exist and superheroes should have a regard for their surroundings and what they're doing. And
despite the money that went into those movies, there's a lot of subversion in their characters.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, it goes all the way up to Thanos, like being what he was.
My number 5, I had Poison Ivy from Batman and Robin. Poor girl just wanted to save the environment. She also got turned into a monster with poison blood because she just, turned down her boss. She was like, that shouldn't happen.
My number 4 is Marcellus Wallace. Just wanted his briefcase back. Just doing what he had to do. And got like the raw end of the deal like so many times.
For my number 4, I had Dennis Nedry from Jurassic Park. I mean, hey man, forget who brought it up, but if he's truly the only guy who can do what he's doing, you're not going to pay him enough. And he's just trying to make a couple extra bucks by selling company secrets. Like, hey man, that's capitalism right there. I don't know. Like,
pay your people what they're worth.
My favorite meme about that character is that his wardrobe mirrors Chunk from Goonies.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like everything that Chunk wears in the movie, like a floral shirt, the slick jacket. Yeah, it's like he's dressed as Chunk.
It's Chunk grown up. It's canon now.
Yeah. My number 4, I have Tyler Durden from Fight Club.
All right.
I mean, all he wanted to do was erase credit card debt, man. What's wrong with that?
Yeah, positive anarchy. I can get behind that. My number 3, also someone I just have to bring up every episode I can, but the Deacon, Dennis Hopper from Waterworld. He just, again, wanted what was right for his people.
Sure.
Needed the go juice to work. He's got that icky freak to deal with.
For my number 3, I have the FBI agent from Wolf of Wall Street. The guy who's trying to bring Leo down.
Yeah,
That's pretty.
it's obvious.
He's doing his job. He's trying to bring down
exactly.
this guy who's fucking committing fraud, and the whole time you're like, I hope he doesn't get him.
My number 3, I had Tony Perkins from Heavyweights.
I still haven't seen this movie. I gotta watch it.
It's amazing.
I gotta watch it.
Yeah.
He just wanted to own a small business, and he also, is just trying to teach children how to lose weight. He gets a little off the rails with it, but he had good intentions.
My number 2 is a pretty common one, I think, but the baddie from Blade Runner, the replicants, who just wanted to live, they have an expiration date, and that's pretty shitty.
My number 2 is Magneto from X-Men.
Another popular one. Yeah,
Sure, yeah,
I think
I don't think
I saw a lot of
that's
people.
hot take at all. Yeah,
Yeah, it's like he had a very, very sympathetic mission. It kind of sucked that he wanted to kill all humans. If all the humans tried to kill you your entire life, and
in the Marvel universe, you get the stories of like, oh, I got injected with super serum. Oh man, that's super cool. You're a hero. Oh, I got, I trained in magic, and now I'm a wizard. Oh, that's so cool, man. And then you got the mutants. Oh, I was just born with these, and freak.
My number 2, I had Godzilla from the Godzilla films. Poor dude just wanted to sleep. We were waking him up with hydrogen bombs, and then he gets up and he's all pissed off because he's like, dude, I'm an ancient being. What's going on? And then you start shooting him. That's terrible.
my number 1 is Mubatu from Zoolander. He was the smartest person in all the rooms. He just wanted to get things right and use Derek to his full potential.
My number 1 is Anton Ego from Ratatouille. Just telling you whether he likes the food or not, man. And and as sweet as the message is, not everyone can cook. I'm sorry. I am sorry. I'm going to side with you on this.
And then my number 1 was Angela from Sleepaway Camp. But yeah, just a trans woman who was trying to exist, and everyone's really shitty to her and trying to assault her and do weird stuff. And you know what? Sometimes you got to draw a little blood.
Right on. That brings us to the end of our show. If you're still listening, thank you for listening. I have been Luc Londe.
I have been Javier Martinez.
And I have been Chuck Starzenski. I can't do a Nick Cage.
And we have been the Nostalgia Killers.
Bang, bang.